So before we get started on the head and neck routine, I just wanted to say a quick word about your chair, your stool, making sure it's in line so you're not strained. Some people move their chair up too far, too down. Just as a general rule with my students, I generally have it so that I tell them that you want your arm, the chair height, approximately where your arm fits at an angle, a perpendicular angle approximately, so that when your arms are resting on your side, then your hands should fit right in so that you're going underneath, so that you don't have to strain. So if you're too far low, your arms start picking up, or if you're too far high, the angle's in a weird angle, you're having to strain, you have to pick your shoulders or something up. So what we're trying to do is just get in a spot so that this is comfortable. Your chair height's approximately where you can reach around and touch with your elbows relaxed and your shoulders relaxed, so that you're not straining any muscles. You can do this over and over again. Also too, remember that when you're sitting in the chair, you can use your body weight with that. You're leaning forward, you're leaning back, you can push back and forth with it. If you're doing heavier work, if you're doing lighter work, you don't have to do it so much, but it is good to use your body mechanics with that. Today we're going to be doing a head and neck routine. I like to try to make a good impression with the head and neck routine just because it's the last thing they're going to remember from me. So I try to make sure that just to make sure that it's relaxing. So I've already bolstered her knees. If you need to, you can come up to the side and tuck just to make them feel more comfortable. If they're more comfortable that way, you don't necessarily have to. It's just a matter of what you feel like and what you're comfortable with. So I'm gonna start by putting some cream. So the first thing we're gonna do, or that I like to do, is to rake the back. I usually put cream all over my arms. I've already worked the back. It's just, again, something to finish up with. But I'm gonna take my hands, I'm gonna run it down her back, let her weight rest on my fingers, and I'm just gonna drag my fingers back. I'm not gonna push up, I'm just gonna let her weight rest on my fingers. I'm gonna pull back. So you just go in on the back, on either side of the spine, as deep as you are comfortable with, or however long your arms will let you. Curl your fingers up and just pull back. And I come all the way back up to the base of the skull, my occiput. And I like to do that about 3 times. And when I come back up to the occiput, I start doing the same thing just on the cervical spine. Put my fingers right about where the traps are on the upper trap fibers. Lift my fingers and just drag the head back. And again, I'm just trying to warm up the neck, because I've already done a little bit of neck work when she was prone, but now she's supine. Just trying to finish off with a nice, relaxing massage. If you need to put some more cream, which I do, a little bit more. Warm it up. You can also do something what some people call climbing the rope, or just where you just put your fingers underneath on each side of the spine. You just run your fingers one behind the other. It's a really good way. You get a lot of compliments on this. A lot of people that need neck work, they like this a lot. It's one of the ones I get most requested for. I do it to everybody, but they always ask before I start if I was going to do this. Now, something else I like to do while I'm working this is I like to do a C1 release. I learned this in Upledger's level 1 craniosacral class. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to take my fingers on the base, right between that base of the skull and C1. I'm going to lift straight up, hold my fingers there, and let her head relax. A lot of times when people have head and neck problems, that gets sticky. And I do like to release, or try to check it out to see if they need that release. But you bring your fingers up on that base of the skull, right under that occiput, and you shoot your fingers up. And as you can see, she needs it, and it will start going back. We work the neck a bit, keep warming it up. What I'll do is I'm going to turn her head into the base of my hand. So I'm going to put my hand behind it around her ear. Where my hand sits on the side. I turn her head so I can reach her neck. More cream. I like to push. Now when I push, I'm taking my arm and I'm pushing on the fibers of the trap in her neck. And sometimes what I like to do is I'll pull her head forward just a bit. So I'm just tilting her head forward a bit as I'm pushing back. To get a nice little stretch as I'm working. You can run your fingers back. You can work that SEM if you like. I usually like to work the insertion points on them, insertion and origin points. The mastoid process, and right at the clavicle. Sometimes I run my fingers over it. I'll start working the scalenes a bit. Now, a lot of times I'll take a soft fist, just relax my fist, let it fit around there. Now, I'll make sure that my wrist doesn't turn just my wrist. I try to use my whole arm so that I don't wear my wrist out. So I'm just pressing in right at the neck, letting my hand fit around her neck, and just traveling down. And you can drag it back with another technique. Again, there's a lot of ways to work the neck. There's a lot of advanced ways, but this is just a nice simple routine to finish off. And when you have a 50-minute routine, how many 50-minute full body massages you're doing, it's a nice little routine. I like to work the suboccipital muscles. Those are tiny muscles, they don't need a lot of pressure. So I get to drag my fingers around them. Also, right at the occiput, right about the place, that origin, that nuchal line where the traps meet, I do like to do some circular friction on those. Out, working. And you can work the traps from there if you'd like. If they need a little bit more work, you could add that to it. You can drag your finger along if they need some more detail work. A lot of different things you could do. Trace your fingers along the scalenes and the levator scapula. Just check around in there. For me, if they're doing a relaxation massage, I don't want to go in deep and just try to rip in the muscles again, particularly since I've done a lot of that. So once you're done with one side, you just do the exact same thing on the other side. I'm not going to show you the same thing twice, but we'll go ahead and carry on. I go back to usually, again, doing the rope climb technique. Check to see if you need more work, see if make sure I got balance between the two. I'm dragging my fingers on either side of the spine, and I like to start dragging up into her skull, because I'm going to start working her head. Do a little shampooing. Check the temporalis. Massage that. The glia apernata on the top. Check to see if it's loose. Sometimes with people, when they have headaches, I find that this part can get tight, so I'm just checking. I'm just checking to see if the top of her head is moving a bit, making sure it's not super tight. Sometimes I come across people and it's really tight. Sometimes it shows me when they're having headaches. You do a little shampoo and you can work through her hair. I like to work around the ears. I'm taking my fingers like this in a V, and I'm working on both sides of the ear. Right around that TMJ joint, the temporomandibular joint, and right behind her ears. Sometimes it's tender with people that have TMJ, so it's really good to do. So if you see them wince or stop on pain, you just lighten up a bit. Same thing with the temporalis. It's a good thing to check with the TMJ disorder. And I start working down the side of her face, just doing circles, getting to that masseter and just doing, it's just something I like to do. I just like to do circles. As I get down towards that, I'll usually check on the inside of her jawline, the mandible. Sometimes that the pterygoids are tight. And again, there's a lot of ways to do this, a lot of ways that you can work the face. Something I like to do. You could come across the chin. You start working across the jaw. I like to come across where the sinus is, especially since we're finishing this way and they've been face down or prone. I'll just come across the sinuses, see if I feel any knots, see if anything's tight. Just work it out. Just trace along that jawline. Trace around the zygomatic arch. Hope you notice the whole time I'm working, I'm keeping my elbows loose and to the side. I don't like to bring my arms up. I don't want to wear my arms out. You do S's across the forehead. And trace around my eyebrows. I usually go back to the right around the ears. And that's just it's a basic routine to help you out for people that are just starting out. Hope you found it helpful. Thank you.